Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. And with a topic he is researching as we speak.
Okay, I think it's the same movie. I think they have two different titles. Okay. Hi. So we came in this morning and we flipped on the TV because there was soccer going on and we wanted to watch soccer.
Yes.
Okay, you wanted to watch golf. You were overruled.
Ran and took the remote from me.
We're watching soccer. I want to turn on. So we have one of the streaming cable providers. Is that the way to put it? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. We have one of them.
What do you call those?
I don't want to give them. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's not YouTube TV. We have one of those. And as you may know, when you log into those, they pop up like suggestions.
We can list off there's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's all those streaming platforms.
Yes.
But they pop up a suggestion right at the beginning, and it's big.
It's based on
the
algorithm, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's something we think you might like that you would otherwise not find. And for some reason, their suggestion today was a film called, it's a Lifetime original film called Her Deadly Sugar Daddy.
And it
stopped
slapped
us down.
you in the face because it literally took up the entire screen, and it was like the play button. It had the thing, it has the description, and then it has this girl leaning into this old man.
After graduating from college, 21-year-old Bridget moves to a new town with her best friend Lindsay. Desperately needing a job to support her budding writing career, she takes a job as an executive assistant to business tycoon Anthony Gloss. The salary is eye-watering, and the perks keep on coming, but she will soon learn that a life of luxury can come at a deadly price.
Dun dun dun.
So, a lot to unpack here.
And this is first thing in the morning too. We said,
I haven't even had
hello,
coffee.
And then bam, Her Deadly Sugar Daddy.
Yeah, Her Deadly Sugar Daddy. Apparently, it's also there's another title of Sugar Baby Murder.
Whoa. So that's the opposite perspective.
Yes.
Oof.
So reviews are not great for this movie.
For which one?
For this movie. It's the same movie. I think it has two titles, Sugar
Okay.
Baby Murder and Deadly Sugar Daddy.
Okay.
One review by Aaron, who gives it 2 stars on Letterboxd. This is a grade A dumpster fire. The last 10 minutes is a pure comedy. Review by JJ. Don't even ask why I watched this. Here's a more positive review from the Iron Cupcake. Although it never lives up to the incredible title, Her Deadly Sugar Daddy is typically pulpy Lifetime nonsense, courtesy of actress-turned-director Brooke Nevin and screenwriter Brooke Purdy, both named Brooke. The latter of whom has penned such familiar masterpieces for the channel as Eve of Abduction, Kill Thy Neighbor, Fatal Friend Request, and Nanny Danger. Sure, a plot in which a secretary is obsessed by her wealthy boss is standard genre territory, but I also can't think of another thriller in which the leads quote Bertrand Russell as a means of greeting one another.
Wow. There's so much to decipher.
There's so much here. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait.
Can we do that this afternoon?
Another thing. Here's another thing. We talked about this. There's a good word in this description, and that is tycoon.
Yes.
I think I aspire to be a tycoon. That's what I want to be when I grow up.
Just
I want to be a tycoon.
Once.
Yeah, I want somebody
to
be like
as a tycoon.
Be like Greg Tepper, local tycoon. That would be incredible because tycoon, that's a different level of wealth. That's not just you have a bunch of money.
You don't say rich. Tycoon is a whole other.
No,
stigma.
I want to be a tycoon. It's a good word.
Maybe I don't know. Like Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones is a tycoon.
Billionaire.
He's a tycoon.
You can't be a. I feel like you
Jeff
cannot
Bezos
be,
is a tycoon.
Yeah, you can't be a millionaire. You have to be in the top.
Mark Cuban is a tycoon.
Yeah, 0.1% of that billionaire status.
Who's the poorest tycoon?
Oof. I feel like you've got to be worth at least $1 billion to be able to have that title. I think once you hit billion, that's when it goes in, because people have like
there
even
are multi-millionaires.
Yeah, people have. I mean, even a normal person can have like you buy a $1 million home. So theoretically, it's like whatever, but
not normal people.
Not normal people, but I'm talking about just normal wealthy people, like the good side of Flomo,
I live in a van down by the river. Yeah, I
think tycoon is when you get to that billionaire status. That's what I would put.
You know what it is? All right.
Because if you actually wrap your mind about how much money $1 billion is, it's insane.
I'm going to throw this out there.
Okay.
Here's the measurement of tycoon. You ready? If you have access to a private jet, right? Is that fair? I think if you have access to a private jet, you're a tycoon.
I feel like a lot more people have private jets than you think, though.
Oh, most certainly. I've learned a lot today. You told me a lot about your offers to be a sugar baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
And apparently this is like not a rare thing.
No, and that's what you thought. You thought I was coming in like
you came in. You were like, I could be a sugar baby if I wanted to. And I'm like, this was my first thought was like, this is Pizza Bet all over again.
Yeah.
This is her getting out over her skis. And then sure enough, you like pull up your Instagram DMs and you got all these horned up dudes who are like, hey, I'll pay you $5,000 a week if you send me pictures of your feet.
And like the most telling part of all of this is like Mallory walked up and was like, oh yeah, look. It happens all the time.
Like,
and then, like, Chandra,
yes,
and she said, I won't say her age, but she goes, she is older than Mallory and I. She's not in her 20s. And she was like, I get messages all the time. And it's like, it doesn't stop.
All right.
Like, it's crazy.
A message to dudes.
Do better.
Dudes. Gotta knock that off. Gotta stop that. That's not good play. We gotta stop with that nonsense, okay?
Ooh, Mallory brought up a good point. A yacht. I think a yacht is another really like an actual yacht.
Is a yacht more expensive than a plane?
I would say so. Now, cost to maintain it and stuff, maybe not, because like jet fuel is going to be a lot more than boat gas. But like, I think I don't know. Look.
Than boat gas?
Well, I mean, like boats run off of gas, like regular gas. I don't think there's a difference between yacht gas and like pontoon gas, but maybe I'm wrong.
What even is this show? Anyway,
we've covered sugar daddies. We've covered boat gas.
Please watch.
Do better. Like,
please watch Her Deadly Sugar Daddy on Lifetime and review it for us. If you would like to be a guest on the pre-show before the free show, watch this movie and come ready for a review, and we will put you on the pre-show. So if you're willing to watch Her Deadly Sugar Daddy and give us a review, you can be on the pre-show. We'll put you on the phone. All right,
there you go.
Hit the theme next phone. Let's go! Free money! Free money!
Hey, how to sing blue baby. Shot glass in your hand.
Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine. TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or you're listening to us in the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's celebrating Bear Shirt Thursday. It is Ashley Pickle.
Yeah, well, let's stand up here. It says life is better around a campfire. And
with a bear.
Got a
Look
bear
at that bear.
on it.
Big old bear.
Bear Shirt Thursday.
Big old bear.
Howdy.
Today is Thursday, June 17th, 2021, 161 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Mark Lynn Baker. Mark Lynn Baker turned 66 today. He, of course, was Larry on Perfect Strangers.
Larry.
On today's I guess it's episode 1187. On today's show, guys, I threw out a topic on Twitter.
Crowdsourcing.
I crowdsourced a segment, and we're going to talk about the most underrated Texas high school football coaches. I'll take you through my process. I'll share with you your picks and stuff like that. We'll talk the most underrated Texas high school football coaches coming up here in a moment. Back half of the show, it's Rankings Reveal season, and we are continuing to let you see the top 10s in the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. It's over here. Today, we're revealing 3A. 3A Division 2 and 3A Division 1. I think there's drama at the top of both of these. Let's put it this way. I think if you wanted to say that in 2A Division 2 you could see Mart being the number one team,
yes,
I buy that. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of drama and a lot of there were decisions to be made.
The playing field was a lot more open.
Correct.
Here.
There's big discussions to be had in 3A. And so we will discuss 3A and reveal the top 10 of the 3A ranking coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Daniel Agnew, Tony Blaylock, Aaron Flynn, and Andrew Christensen. Welcome in, fellas.
Okay. Tuesday, bad start. In 3, 2. On Tuesday, here on Texas Football Today, we revealed our 40 under 40. The best young coaches in Texas, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We revealed the honorees this year. Of course, they're still great coaches, and with only 40 spots, you're going to leave off some fantastic coaches. For example, Barrick Neely is not on there. Barrick Neely is the running backs coach at UTEP. I think he's fantastic, right? As was mentioned, Riley Dodge was not in there. Part of that is because Riley Dodge was on the past couple of years. But, yeah, we want to give spots to other people. But it got me thinking, and one thing I thought about was, I don't know a time in which Texas high school football has had such a great depth of young coaching. Mm-hmm. I think there's just an outstanding, I think, needless to say, there is this older generation of coaches who are fantastic.
Right. The Randy Allens, the Gary Josephs, the guys that have been tenured, you could
OGs.
say. There you go, tenured
the
is a
OGs.
good way.
There's this outstanding crop of legends at the top, but I also think like the new generation's here, and you've got this really good generation of young coaches who are coming up. Mm-hmm. And it got me thinking about the depth of coaching in this state, and it got me thinking about, man, there are some really, really good coaches that nobody talks about.
Yep.
Like, we just don't talk about enough. Not that nobody talks about them.
Right.
But we don't talk about them from a statewide perspective enough. And so I started thinking about who are, in my mind, the most underrated coaches in Texas high school football. Who are the ones who are flying under people's radar that we should be talking about more and more, but maybe we haven't. And so what I did was, here's the order of operations here. What I did was I made my list. Mm-hmm. I came up with a list of 10 that I thought off the top of my head, I was like, these are guys that I think are super good coaches that probably do not get the attention from the statewide level that I think their coaching talent level would normally get.
And I think this is to precursor this, a good thing to say is we understand that everyone in these region knows how good these specific coaches are. You don't have to yell at us. We think that they're fantastic coaches. This is just saying from a statewide perspective
that if you were to ask John Q, Texas high school football fan, about great coaches, they would rattle off some of the names we were talking about.
Scott Surratt,
Scott Surratt, Phil Danaher, Tim Buchanan, Randy Allen, right? Gary Joseph. There are some old, I don't mean that. There are some standbys, right? Some old standards, right? That you go, yeah, these are great coaches. That
household
are known.
Names.
Scott Surratt's not going to be on my list.
Right.
Because everybody at this point, if you don't know that Scott Surratt's a great coach, that's on you.
Get
right?
the 60-second edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
So.
You and your bud.
Here, so what I did, the order of operations, because I didn't want to poison this well.
Okay.
I came up with my list of 10. And then I threw it out on Twitter, and I said, who's on your list?
Mm-hmm.
And there was some overlap.
Yes.
There was some overlap, and so I want to show you my 10. My picks for 10 of at least the most underrated coaches in Texas high school football this year. I also left this up to only active head coaches.
That's good.
If we start getting into the defensive coordinators, then we'll be here all day, right? Because
exactly.
there are so many great guys who haven't had a shot to be head coaches yet. I went Brady Carney at Munster. I think Brady Carney at Munster is so grossly underappreciated what he does there. He's one of the most successful coaches in Texas that nobody talks about.
He's so consistent.
Unbelievable. I mean, and I think what he does there at Munster is so, and part of it I think is that he only has that one title, right? And that's not fair. But he only has that one title. But you're talking about a guy who right now, I've got my spreadsheet up. Brady Carney has a record of 128-22.
That's insane.
Okay? He has a higher winning percentage. He has a higher winning percentage than D.W. Rutledge. I mean, he has been incredible.
And at that level, too.
For sure. At the small school level where there's so much turnover.
Right.
Chris Tackett at Windthorst was another one that sprung to mind. And I think that people are starting to figure out, because of their state championship, that I think that people are figuring out that he's a really good coach. And I think this is an important caveat to hand out. We talk a lot about Windthorst's title last year as an upset, because it was. It was an upset to go and beat Mart, the number one team, the undisputed team in 2A Division II. Undisputed best team in 2A Division II. They were the clear favorite. It was an upset. But what Chris Tackett's been doing at Windthorst for a long time has been really impressive. And it was a really good team last year, and he's always had really good teams. And so you can hold those two thoughts in your head at the same time. It was an upset to beat Mart, and what Chris Tackett has done at Windthorst over the course of his career there has been exceptional. Mm-hmm. Craig Stump at Humboldt Atascocita is another one. The former Texas A&M Aggie, of course. I think we take for granted how consistent Atascocita is.
Yep.
I think it's hard in a big school district like that to be as good as they are every single year, but he is. And I think that's in large credit to what Coach Stump does at Atascocita. Manny Gomez at Harlingen. Part of this is this is pure geography.
Yep.
It's people don't people statewide, because the RGV is not competing for state championships. They don't think about there being great coaches, but Manny Gomez is 122-40 in his head coaching career.
Yeah.
Manny Gomez has a better winning percentage than Todd Dodge.
Yep.
Okay, Manny Gomez has been exceptional at Harlingen. Craig Horn at Italy is another one. Another one in the Central Texas area. A guy who was 123-42 in his career. I mean, a guy who has been just exceptional as the head coach there.
And a guy that does not want to be put in the spotlight.
No. He
loves it.
You covered an Italy game,
yep,
right?
I covered Italy and Rio Vista in the playoffs, and he was,
he's happy to hang back.
He will talk to you, and he will give you great answers. He's a super nice guy, but he loves X's and O's.
Yeah, he's a bit of a wonk. You know what I mean? And those guys, maybe part of it is to be a big time head high school football coach, like a big name. I think you
have to put yourself out there.
You do have to put yourself out there, and I think if you hold yourself back, then that might be something that maybe people don't necessarily realize. Another one that I think is in the private school ranks is David Bowden at Fort Nolan.
Pick.
I think what he has done at Nolan has been exceptional. He's turned them into a private school powerhouse, and every single year you know what you're getting from them. This is a guy who is 40-15 there at Nolan. He's 73-20 overall. And every single year, and they have a lot of turnover because the private school ranks inherently have more turnover, but he is consistent as the day is long. I think David Bowden's super underrated. Brent Sniffen at Belton is another one. I think he does such an incredible job at Belton, and part of it, I think, is that Belton itself is a little bit underrated. I think it's fair or not, and Belton fans are going to be very mad when I say this, but Temple, because they're down there, Temple kind of sucks up a lot of the oxygen in the room.
Oh, yeah.
But Belton, last year, kind of notwithstanding.
Right in between Austin and Waco. It's people get spread out down there.
Right, and the other thing about him is because, last year obviously wasn't great for him in his first year, but here's a guy who he was in his first year. It didn't go as well as he was hoping it would go. But I think that better things are on the horizon. There's a reason that they went to him because he was so good at Fort Bend Ridgepoint. Mm-hmm. And I think that I think he's a guy at Belton that is super underrated. Jake Walksmith at Shiner St. Paul is another one that, again, super underrated. And, again, part of it is that because they are in Shiner, right? Mm-hmm. And Shiner, of course, the defending state champs, there's a lot of attention paid to them. Shiner St. Paul is routinely one of the very best private school teams in the state. And
their athletics program, we have family friends that both their sons went there. Their whole athletics program competes at, like, the highest level.
It's incredible,
it's insane.
And what Coach Jake Walksmith does down there is 111-35 in his time there. He's been just exceptional. Rod Blunt at Navarro is another one that, and part of it is they have not really been able to get over that hump, but they are so consistent. Every single year, they are so consistent. And a guy who, he's 34. I think he's 34. Let me make sure I get this right. He's 34-7 at Navarro. Before he was at Navarro, he was at Mathis, and he took Mathis to a semifinal, title game, semifinal back in 2015. It must have been semifinal in 2015, and he has been exceptional. I think he's super underrated, and I think another part of it is because they run the slot T. Mm-hmm. It's like they're not fancy.
They're not shiny.
It's
not the shiny toy.
Exactly right. And then Jamal Fenner at Austin LBJ. And I think that last year, hopefully, people started to realize what a good coach he was. And what I hope people realize is, yes, is it nice to have Latrell McCutcheon and Andrew Makuba on your team? 100%. And Jamal Fenner will not apologize for coaching those two guys. But he is a guy that I think he stands on his own merits. Mm-hmm. And what Jamal Fenner does there at Austin LBJ, I think that's a tough job. And what he does down there, I think has been very, very impressive in his 3 years there at Austin LBJ. Those are my picks for the most underrated coaches. That was off the top of my head yesterday while I was thinking about it.
Right.
What I did then was I threw it out on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And everyone came calling.
Yes.
Everyone wanted to tell me who they thought was the most underrated coach. And so this is an admittedly incomplete list of who the fans threw out there. And I won't read all of the names. If you're listening on the podcast, you can go to TexasFootball.com. We'll have this up there. But a good mix of guys here. Some of them, like, for example, I don't think, like, if you say that John Kay is underrated, like, I think I would reject that.
Yes.
I also think Coach K would reject that.
Yes.
But there are some other guys here that I do think are worthy of shouting out here. I think Chris Lancaster at Little River Academy is a great pick.
The Swole Bees, man.
What he's done has been exceptional. Very, very good. Jordan Black at Fort Bend Christian at the private school ranks, another one that I think is impressive. We've talked about what Mike Spradlin does at Rockwall Heath, what he did at Temple, what he's done all over. He is a program builder. Joseph Turner from Fort Worth Northside, of course, was on our 40 under 40 list.
Doug Warren from Wimberley.
Yeah,
I like that whole lot.
Well, and that's another example of a guy who, not a secret in Wimberley how good he is.
No, exactly.
And
Regional.
I would even say to 4A fans, folks who cover 4A, I don't think it's a secret to them either because they are so consistent. Mark Bindle at Wichita Falls Riders, another one that popped up. Monty Stumbaugh at Hidalgo, who is a longtime Port Isabel coach and did incredible things down there in the Rio Grande Valley.
Matt Poe at Pottsboro strikes me as another one that we were talking about earlier that he kind of like Craig Horn that kind of likes just, everyone knows how good Pottsboro is, but he doesn't need to be put singularly in the spotlight.
Brandon Schmidt at Prosper was a name that came up a lot. BJ Gotti at Katy Pato is another one. Devin Doris at Azle was another one that came up a lot. Luke Blackwell's done incredible work at Mineola. And look, this is I might have missed one or two on here that are on the list, but after I tweeted that, this came up, and like whenever people started doing it, and what I spent my evening going is like, ooh, that's a good pick. Ooh, that's a really good pick. Ooh, yeah, I should have put him on there. Ooh, can I find a way to put him on there? And by the way, there were a couple on my list that I didn't include here. Like there were people who said Chris Tackett, and I'm like, yeah, right. I agree.
Yes.
He's already on my list. So I just think this is interesting, and I think what this says is, of course, Texas high school football is super regionalized, right? It's like you cover you follow your team, and generally speaking, you think your coach is pretty good,
Matt Green on Lano
or a guy who's in your district, things like that. I get that. What I think is the bigger statement here is look at the depth of coaching here.
It's insane.
Right? I mean, we're talking about I can't count this, but this is probably 45 names.
Yeah.
Ish. Probably 45 names. And then you add in like mine, and there's another 55. We're talking about 55 guys we think are underrated.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking about guys who are known to be fantastic head coaches.
Yeah.
We're talking guys that people think are underrated. And that in and of itself, I think, speaks to the incredible depth of coaching in this state.
Yeah.
And that's the real headliner for me here, is we can certainly agree on who should be on what list and things like that, and we're never going to come up with the same list, right? But what it does is all these guys are coaching in the same league.
Yep.
And that's pretty impressive. The fact that you're able to get that is awfully impressive. So,
and I think two names that really pop out is Alan Metzel at Gilmer and Trey Brooks at Rockwall. We're talking about them as being underrated head coaches, and they both last year was their first year as a head coach.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
I mean, it's been very. I mean, it's impressive, and this is not even to mention all the really good coordinators that were mentioned, and a lot of assistants and stuff who are on the rise. There's a number of guys on this list, like on the 40 under 40, who are not on this.
Yeah.
And part of it was, they haven't coached a game yet. Like DJ Mann, our buddy DJ Mann out there at Lubbock Coronado.
Yeah.
I think DJ Mann's going to be successful.
Yeah.
Going to be really, really good.
Eric Mims out at
Eric Mims, Amarillo Palladuro, like guys like that. I'm very interested. Kyle Westerberg at White House. Those guys I think are going to be successful. They haven't coached a game yet, and so I didn't want to bog it all down with that. And so those are, to me, I think the exciting thing is that we get to watch all of them.
Yeah.
Is that all of them operate in the state of Texas, and the depth of coaching here in the state of Texas is just simply unmatched. And it's really, really impressive. So anyway, let us know in the comments who you think is the most underrated coach in Texas high school football. And if you say like Scott Surratt, or you say like Randy Allen, or you say like Gordon Wood, I'm going to be mad. So don't say it. Okay. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. Oh, my gosh.
Whoa, bye, Scott.
I'm coach.
Like, you just said they couldn't put Scott in the comments, and then you just slapped him out of there.
I'm so sorry, Coach.
Take that.
I'm so sorry. Become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider.
Excited.
Get the 2021 Summer Edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Calamity in the studio. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. If you become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. Got some exciting things coming up for you, including next week. You can watch some 7-on-7.
That was crazy. I don't know what just happened, but I know we're going to state.
That's right. You can watch the state 7-on-7 tournament live on TexanLive.com. Dave Campbell's Texan Live, exclusively airing the state 7-on-7 tournament, and you can watch it for free. How much, Pickle?
For free.
$3.99 for free. Thanks to our friends at the Texas Army National Guard. June 24th through 26th on TexanLive.com. We will have 4 fields going.
Yes.
4 fields going.
Yeah, because it's
so it's two
full fields.
2 full fields, but they're
split
halves.
into 2. Yeah.
So
45-yard fields.
And so make sure you check that out. TexanLive.com for free. Watch the state 7-on-7 tournament from College Station next week. Move this so I don't knock our friends.
Yeah.
At Texas A&M.
Tony Blaylock said we gotta cut that clip of you just backhanding the hell out of Scott Surratt.
Coach knows that I love him. It's fine. We're buddies.
He's gonna punch you with those rings. You better watch out.
I know he is. Pickle, it is rankings reveal season.
Rankings season.
We are revealing the 2021 preseason top 10 according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Of course, we are the official rankings provider of the Associated Press, so these are the official preseason rankings for Texas high school football. We know it's June, but guess what? Football's a-coming. and we're excited about it. And we will now reveal the 3A Division II top 10. Of course, we have expanded rankings in the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, which you can get at texasfootball.com/subscribe. We will start with the number 10 team. The Eagles of Lexington are the number 10 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, an 8-4 squad from last year. This is a team that we think has a chance to be very good, thanks in large part to Jared Kerr. Of course, they have been consistently excellent over the course of the last few years. This is a very dangerous Lexington squad. They are the number 10 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We're going to stick in Region 4 for number 9, where we find the Brahmas of East Bernard. Last year, I think, probably a bit of a disappointing year. They lost to Lexington in that opener, but this is a team that I think the defense has a chance to really step up, have to build up that offensive line. But East Bernard, running that slot T, going to be very dangerous. The Brahmas of East Bernard, the number 9 team. To number 8, Elysian Fields is the number 8 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a regional finalist last year, came up just short to Wascom. But this is a team that brings back 14 starters, including 8 on their defense. If they can find a quarterback, then I think Elysian Fields has a chance to be very good. They're number 8. Number 7, the Eagles of Holiday are the number 7 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football this year. A regional semifinalist from last year, went 11-2. The backfield is back. The linebacking core is back. They have to replace some offensive line pieces, but I think this defense could lead the way early for the Eagles, and they are a potential high riser here. I think 7, actually, if I can tell you, maybe a little low for them, but we're starting them off at number 7 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the Holiday Eagles. Number 6, the Bobcats of Childress are the number 6 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. 15 starters back from last year's regional finalist squad, and they're anxious for another shot at Canadian. They think that they've got a shot to win this region. I think they've got a shot to win this region, thanks in large part to what will be a very experienced squad. Childress, number 6 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Into the top 5 we go, where we find the Newton Eagles. Last year, a 7-3 mark, lost in the area round, and I think that last year, obviously a little bit disappointing for what they've kind of become accustomed to, but I think they're setting up for a big comeback. Yes. I think they bring back 7 starters on both sides of the ball. This is a team that I think is ready to pounce, a team that's ready to prove that last year is not the new norm. They are back. I like Newton, number 5 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. But they'll have to get past the number 4 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the Wascom Wildcats. State semifinalist from last year's squad is loaded for bear. 8 starters back on defense, 7 starters back on offense. Depth is a little bit of an issue, but this is a very dangerous squad. In my opinion, the favorite out of Region 3, Wascom, the number 4 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Now it gets interesting, Pickle.
Yes,
because we're into the top 3, where we find the Canadian Wildcats are the number 3 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. The reigning, defending, undisputed 3A Division II state champions, of course, have tremendous tradition with Coach Chris Ketting, but will need to reload. This is a team that is graduating one of the most talented senior classes ever out there. They have some holes to fill. Just 3 starters back on each side of the ball. That is a concern. But this is one of the best coach teams in America. I think Canadian's going to be back in the mix. I think Canadian starts the year number 3 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
And clearly they fight till the end of games.
That's true. To number 2. The Tigers of Gunner are the number 2 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Last year's state semifinalist was pretty young. Took a little bit of their lumps, at least by Gunner standards. But Jake Fizel is very excited about his squad, and so are we. 8 starters are back on both sides of the ball. This team has an opportunity to be one of the best Gunner teams ever. They begin the year number 2 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. The number 1 team in 3A Division II,
how about that?
The Lions of Franklin start the year top-ranked in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and we think last year was the hop and the skip right before the jump. This is a Franklin squad that brings back 17 starters overall, including 9 on that offense. The defense figures to be outstanding. This team has outstanding experience, and we think that Mark Fannon's squad is here for real. I like Franklin a lot. They are the number 1 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football to start in 3A Division II. Of course, we have expanded rankings in the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, which you can get at texasfootball.com/subscribe. Okie dokie, Pickle.
On to 3A Division I.
To 3A Division I we go. Where we start with number 10, the Hallettsville Brahmas. Start the year number 10 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. State finalist, number 10, right? Well, this is an interesting squad. On one hand, this is a team that brings back a lot of key pieces, a lot of the worker bees. 10 starters are back on offense, okay? 7 starters are back on defense. There's a lot to like about this team, but they are losing that guy. They're losing the 2020 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year in Jonathan Brooks. We still think Hallettsville's got a chance to make a big rise, but they're going to have to prove it to us. They start the year number 10 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Number 9. How about Pilot Point? Pilot Point starts the year at number 9 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. A surprise 10-4 squad from last year, a regional finalist. Came up short to Jim Ned in the regional finals. This is a team that is going to be relatively young, but we think that their running game has a chance to be excellent if they can mature as the season moves on. We think Pilot Point could peak at the right time. Pilot Point begins year number 9 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Number 8. The Leopards of Lorena are the number 8 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. 9-3 a year ago, a regional semifinalist, came up short in a wild shootout to Hallettsville. This offensive line has a chance to be one of the best in Texas, plain and simple. They could be very, very good, and we think that they are actually the favorite in Region 3. Lorena starts the year in number 8 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football's 3A Division I rankings. Number 7, a familiar face.
But going to be weird.
The Zebras of Grandview are the number 7 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. This loses an incredible senior class, of course, led by quarterback Dane Yench. But things may be a little bit different early. What I am very interested in Grandview is I think what you're going to see in Week 14 is going to be vastly different than what you see in Week 1.
Yes.
How much do they improve over the course of the season? For now, they start the year number 7 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Number 6, the Industrial Cobras out of Vanderbilt, Texas, are the number 6 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Regional semifinals from a year ago, I think, got upset by Lago Vista, but returns almost every skill position player. They do have to replace some offensive linemen, but if they rebuild this offensive line, and we've got plenty of reason to believe that they will, this defense is going to be nasty. I like this Cobras team. Vanderbilt Industrial, the number 6 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Into the top 5 pickle, where we find the Tigers of Malakoff starting the year number 5 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. 4 starters back on both sides of the squad for Coach Jamie Driscoll's bunch. A regional finalist from a year ago came up just short to Mount Vernon in the regional final. This is a team that's going to have good leadership, but has a lack of experience. Another team that may peak late. If that happens, they've got a chance to be excellent. Malakoff, the number 5 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Things get interesting now.
Say, here's maybe a hipster.
How about the Tatum Eagles, the number 4 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football? And you're thinking, wait a second, they went 8-2 last year.
Who?
Lost in the area round. Well, this is a team that brings back 8 starters on both sides of the ball. They have experience at key positions. This is a team that I think has a chance to be that high riser, a team that gets that maybe you're not thinking about right now. We are buying in on Tatum. I think they have a chance to be excellent. They're the number 4 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Speaking of East Texas, speaking of that district, the Gladewater Bears, the number 3 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Another team you may be like, wait a second, what? Lost in the first round to Mount Vernon, you want to put them at number 3? This is a team that I think is going to benefit from that. I think that they bring back a ton, especially on the defensive side. I think they have a chance to be excellent defensively. If they can fill a couple of positions on the offensive line, Gladewater's got a chance to be excellent. The Bears of Gladewater, the number 3 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Only 2 spots left pickle, and the number 2 spot belongs to the Eagles of Brock.
With a new head coach.
With a new head coach after the departure of
Chad
Worrell to going to El Campo. Brock is going to look a little bit different. This is going to be very interesting to see what Billy Mathis in from Weatherford does with this bunch. But the talent is certainly there. This is a team that I think, especially on the offensive line, is going to be very, very, very good. They are going to need to refill some holes defensively. That's going to be a big question for them, but make no mistake. Brock is one of the very best teams in one of the very best programs in the state of Texas. They will find a way to be a contender. Brock, the number 2 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, which leaves just one team, pickle, the number 1 team,
we go.
The Indians of Jim Ned. Last year, they snuck up on us, made us look real dumb. Can't make us look dumb now. The number 1 team in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the defending state champs, return a ton on both sides of the ball. Coach Matt Fanning has done an outstanding job there. Xavier Wishart, their star running back, is back for another senior year. This is a team that is absolutely loaded and ready for a repeat. We think that they have a chance to be very, very good. And last year we mentioned a team that snuck up on us, ain't sneaking up on us now. The Jim Net Indians, the number 1 team in 3A Division I.
And I think it's funny because we were like, oh, well, they might not make it this year, but next year's their year. Like, we had already called, if they don't make it to the state championship, we would bet on them making it this year. And then they went out and had probably the best game of the entire the best game of the entire championship slate.
Most certainly. And so, of course, we've got expanded rankings in the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football right here. You can get it at texasfootball.com/subscribe. There they are, 3A rankings. Of course, expanded rankings here in this magazine. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Since I realized that wrong graphic there. There we go. Since we didn't bring it up yesterday, for anyone who was paying attention to our Twitter, not yesterday, but the day before last, the person who gracefully broke their chair and fell out of it in the Dave Campbell's office was none other than Greg Tepper over there with his cut-up elbows.
Look at that.
So what happened was we're sitting there. It's quiet in the office. Everyone's got their headphones in. Like, no one was talking.
There's like a soccer match going on, too.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of background noise, but everyone was pretty focused in on what they were doing. And all of a sudden, we hear boom, boom, and then glass just shattering. I'm not gonna lie, we were scared for a second that you legitimately passed out. But what happened was homeboy over here decided to lean too far back in his chair.
You deserve that. You deserve that.
Homeboy decided to lean too far back in his chair, fell over into this picture frame. Glass went everywhere. We looked down and
went elbow first into it. Sliced it up good. There was a minute there where I thought I was going to need stitches, but it's okay.
Yeah,
yes,
luckily
the chair
pulled away.
The chair broke, which actually was like a relief after that, because I didn't want to believe I was that clumsy.
Yeah,
I was because I was leaning back in my chair, like this, and then suddenly it just gave, and I'm like, what? And suddenly the laws of physics didn't apply to me.
Yeah.
And so I went elbow first into a frame. And sliced up my elbow something fierce. I'm going to have a gnarly scar. It's going to be good.
We're just sitting there okay. What happened? We look up and Tepper's just on the ground and there's just glass everywhere. And after we figured out that it was okay, that you were okay, it was quite comical. But for a second there, it was oh crap, he just passed out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. A normal
Just a
Tuesday
normal day.
In the Dave Campbell's office.
Texas Football office.
It's Tepper over here just shattering glass.
I know. And then I walked through a pane glass window on the way home. So
yeah.
It's not true.
So anyway, to answer everyone's question, it was Tepper.
Of course.
That
who else would it
just
be?
busted. I think a lot of people thought it was me, to be fair. I'm clumsy in and of itself. I don't think anyone thought it was Ish or Shahan.
Right.
I think everyone had their bet on you or I being the one, but it was a lot more comical that it was you.
It was. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Tomorrow we reveal the top 10s in Class 4A. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please can get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.